So for those who don't already know me, I'm Dominic Harrison, Director of Business Development for Employee Share Schemes at Equiniti. For my sins, I've been doing share schemes for about 16 or 17 years in various different guises, both at previous administrators and also in-house at BP, responsible for the equity distribution across broad base and discretionary plans there. I've got an esteemed panel with me. Natasha, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Greetings all. My name's Natasha McLeod. I'm Head of Brand and Creative at Equiniti. So my role involves in leading a team of creative, talented designers who specialise in communication plans for our clients. Over to you.
Thank you. Morning all. I'm Jonathan Sturman and I look after executive remuneration and share plans at Kier, and we'll talk a bit more about that later on.
Superb, thanks. So the purpose of today's session is to talk a little bit around changing workforce, a dynamic approach, and how we can try and keep employees engaged. The topics that we've got for today's agenda is we wanted to look a little bit more broadly in terms of how we're seeing advertisers and other companies outside of the employee space looking at engaging with whether it be buyers, whether it be other companies, and the mediums they look at doing that, especially given the light of technological changes that have happened and have been driven out of the pandemic. When you look back to some of the earlier sessions today, Tira was referencing ESG processes and trying to do things in a more sustainable form. So how are companies looking at engaging with buyers and processes and using technology where they can to remove paper from the process. Also being a little bit mindful that as companies have different strategies in how they return to the office, how we look at engaging with the workforce in different ways and mediums to ensure that we're still reaching out to those employees and using dynamics that we can that enable employees to fully engage and understand their benefits and the choices they need to make. Natasha was going to talk around some of the details on how that's being done outside of employee plans, and then we'll try and bring it back into the employee plans ecosystem. So how have we taken that on as an Equiniti company and understand how we can work with our companies to engage with their employees and look at the strategies that other consumers are using to bring that into the employee sphere. And then we're looking at a couple of case examples, which Jonathan will lead with Kier, so some of the experience that Kier has piloted with the use of the mobile app and other technologies that we have in place as well to really engage with the employee workforce, as well as looking at a case study we've recently done for EasyJet, who unfortunately weren't able to speak today, but equally they've taken some of the more modern nuances in technology and how we can look at engage with our employee workforce using those areas as well. Before concluding with a little bit of a look to the future, where do we think the future of technology is taking us? How are we going to use that in the employees' plan space? And how we'll be able to move forward with yourselves as our clients. Natasha, I'll hand over to you to take us through the opening pieces.
Thank you very much, Dom. So today I'm thrilled to share with you some valuable insights I've gathered through research on consumer trends and how we can apply this knowledge to shape our share plan communications for our employees. As we strive to improve our comm strategies, it's crucial to stay informed about the ever-changing behaviours and preferences, how individuals engage with information. So over the past 5 years, digital engagement consumption has undergone significant transformation, influenced by the pandemic, cost of living crisis, the war in Ukraine, and environmental issues. This research, we have gained valuable insights into the expectations of our employees and what truly matters to them. So armed with this knowledge, we can move forward to enhance our comms in the share plan space. So top consumer trends, top consumer content trends. So we've identified 6 prevalent patterns that exist, all connected by certain inherent factors. These patterns serve as a reflection of the constantly evolving behaviours and preferences of individuals in today's fast-paced society. By understanding these patterns and behaviours, businesses can adapt strategies to meet the ever-changing demands of their audience. So the six trends, I'm going to talk one at a time. So the first, online communities. So online communities are safe spaces on digital platforms where individuals can share the love of a product, service or mission and can gather and connect. Owned by organisations, these communities play a crucial role in building trust and loyalty in your brand. For instance, Peloton, a fitness technology company, created an online community with 480,000 members. Here, individuals motivate each other, share Peloton products and classes, share updates and journeys, ask questions, and receive feedback. This space is a safe place where people can discuss their successes and and our struggles. Number 2, social media engagement. So over the past 5 years, social media has emerged as the largest platform for engaging people and consumers. While some use it for entertainment, the majority seek inspiration, learning, and education. It also serves as a conversion tool for purchasing products and services. The content on social media often has a homemade feel, which makes it more authentic than other channels. Influence of influencers. Influencers have become brand advocates. By partnering with these people, brands can showcase their experiences with products and services. These influencers have earned the trust of their audience. Their authentic content resonates, which results in higher engagement levels. Industries have recognized this and seen the benefits for the influencer marketing strategies. Embracing authenticity. Brands have shifted to present themselves in a more authentic, genuine manner. Authenticity helps build and maintain trust with consumers by sharing relatable stories and highlighting how products and services have benefited and impacted people's lives. Brands are more likely to attract customers. And the tone of the voice is extremely important as well. Using more colloquial, more relaxed languages put people at ease. There's no room for polished content anymore. So this is trend 5. So impact on short-form video. Given the overwhelming amount of content individuals encounter online, it's crucial that we captivate the attention. Short-form video, ranging between 15 and 30 seconds, have proven to be effective, especially on social media. Video content adds a personal touch to your brand and enhances their credibility. On social media, video posts receive 48% more views compared to the static content. Last, the power of live content. So the pandemic accelerated the adoption of live content, which became one of the primary ways of incorporating interactivity. This trend continues to thrive. Still, now, the ability to reach the audiences without any location barriers. Authenticity plays a crucial part in live content. Naturally delivered streams create stronger connections. In fact, 80% of audiences prefer to watch live videos from a brand than reading a blog. So I'm going to leave you with a surprising stat. According to a study conducted by Deloitte, approximately 47% of consumers have decided to purchase solely based on social media recommendation. This showcases the growing influence of social media platforms on consumer behaviors and purchasing decisions. It highlights the power of user-generated content and the role of influencers in shaping consumer brands. So now we know a bit about the trends. I'm going to hand you over to Dom, who's going to discuss the share plans and how we can revolutionize those. Over to you, Dom.
Thanks, Tasha. So hopefully that gives a little bit of a background in terms of what's going on outside of share plans, how we can take on that information and look to really adapt that to move share plans into the next sphere. I was going to start on this slide first. I think my order has got slightly muddled up, so forgive me for jumping around. The slide that we wanted to position at is that when you're engaging with your employee workforce, you have different areas of your workforce that are typically based in different environments. And that environment can influence the best medium that is used to actually contact them. You also have employees that are at different age brackets. And that different age bracket might also influence the familiarity they have with modern technology and the approach they then have with a more paper-based solution versus, say, a mobile application solution. Because of those different nuances, while we need to be mindful of technological advancements that Natasha just talked around and the way in which we engage, we're seeing trends around TikTok videos, around Instagram processes and usage of mobile phones and tablets, we also probably don't need to leave behind previous trends yet, because there are still areas of the workforce that aren't fully engaged with those forms of mediums, and we want to be inclusive in how we actually communicate with our employees and make sure they fully engage. So what we've developed is what's referred to as our engagement ecosystem. The engagement ecosystem that we have is a bit of a simplified way of looking across the employee spectrum and seeing from the tools that we have in our toolkit at the moment, which we have built based upon industry trends that we've seen across the likes of buyer trends and advertisement companies, what can we use and support our companies and clients to help engage with their employees? So we've got an example here of a couple of profiles that we've created and types of employee. The first of which is an individual who effectively is fairly new to the process, would like to have a lot of information to enable them to make a type of decision around joining an all-employee plan and the amount they want to contribute. In order to do that, they might need things like information, brochures, a calculator to actually model and understand the process of what it means to them financially, and how they can look at understanding the deduction from salary and what it might materially mean in terms of a gain from an investment perspective. We then have an individual on the far left-hand side in case 3, where an individual's probably got more experience of the actual plan itself. Maybe they've joined a Share Save Launch before, or maybe they were a share incentive plan participant at a previous company. So these individuals understand the nuances of the scheme, but don't necessarily want to have to read through all of the materials because they're already educated. They've already financially understand the commitments of joining a scheme and making a contribution. And to that end, are just looking through a fast way of joining and a reduced amount of content to consume. So because of that case, we've created a dynamic arrangement on our ecosystem so that we cater to all of those types of individuals, with the mobile app being fairly new in terms of process. And Jonathan will talk a little bit later on how that mobile app has been brought into life. I'll jump back a couple of bits to the first point of how that ecosystem is normally centered. So we often have what we refer to as a microsite, which often acts as a central port of communication for clients that we currently use. It's a digital hub that enables most communications associated to the scheme to then be held centrally, which helps de-risking things like updates, out-of-date versions circulating on intranets, or indeed in local drives, which you're communicating to your individual employees when you look at engaging and launching schemes. So creating a single source of truth that individuals can be routed to enable them to understand the schemes, understand its benefits, and understand the way in which they can then make an informed decision from there should they need to. The medium they can then choose to then join the scheme obviously then depends on their particular preference. So obviously the mobile app you can log in and download, or indeed the actual portal that we extend to our clients through single sign-on and other means that enables the individual to directly log into the portal and register their intent to join and contribute to an employee scheme. We've got a video later in terms of how that works in action, so I'll pause in terms of going into more detail at this stage, and we can come back to how EasyJet, one of our clients, has really brought that to life and how they look at centralising and managing communications from there. Newer to our process and kind of toolkit, as it were, is our mobile application. The mobile that we've designed has been proprietary owned. It's been designed by EQ Tech, which is our division in Poland, in Krakow. And it's been in development for around a year and a half now. And Kia were the first pilot client back in October last year that went live with it. We've come to the fore with the mobile app for a couple of different reasons. We recognise that there is a need, as Natasha's alluded to, with a number of individuals engaging through mobile devices, through TikTok, through Instagram, through other mediums, to have a method that enables individuals to really engage with their plans more easily, transact and make decisions online. But equally, we recognise that we can use this technology that in a way will help reform how share plans work. And I know that's quite a big statement, but I think what we're trying to do here is really think about how the mobile application can enable us to engage with the workforce. The mobile application that we have can be downloaded and logged in at a first registration, first point of engagement directly through the mobile app. Was our hope in kind of pioneering that as part of the technology was that we could enable our clients to reach areas of the workforce that haven't previously been reached, because they might be non-desk based, they might be working on potholes in Kira's example, or they might be, in EasyJet's example, cabin crew, and therefore flying from multitude of different locations. So they're not readily using tablets in the workplace, or indeed desktop-based environments. So how do we look at using that new technology to enable them to really access and join a plan? And we've seen with some of the case examples that we've worked through that approach has enabled clients to really reach areas of the workforce that haven't previously engaged with schemes. And being able to do that, I think, is exceptionally powerful. So how does the approach in action work? Jonathan, I'll let you kind of talk a little bit around how we've done things for Kier.
Great, thank you. So just a bit about Kier. We're the other Kier. We don't make cars. We're not that Kier. So we build stuff and maintain stuff. Just give some context. So we have a turnover of about £3.5 billion, and we've got 10,000-ish employees, depending on the day you count them. And what we do, so we build stuff, so we are at the moment building a large section of HS2, this side of Birmingham, I'm pleased to say. And what else have we done? In London, for example, we do a lot of road maintenance in northern London, so apologies if we get stuck in roadworks. We built a section of the new Elizabeth line, and we built the Farringdon station, and we do a lot of road maintenance, utilities work and all that. So what that means is we've got a lot of people that are not desk-based. Around half our employees are out doing something useful rather than sitting at a desk. So a lot do not have a work email address. And they will work nights, they will be in cleaning a hospital somewhere in the middle of Wales, or something which makes them quite difficult to actually engage with. So we can send out emails, they don't read them because they don't get them in the first place. We can stick posters up on sites and stuff like that. So I think from our perspective, it was, what can we do to build up engagement in sort of the hard-to-reach areas of the company, whether it's, like I say, people who are effectively offline, or those that are new starters, or those that come in and aren't perhaps mega engaged in the company, because actually they're coming in and they're being paid quite a low wage, and they're doing stuff which perhaps doesn't tie them in, particularly to, wow, I work for Kier, it's fantastic. So it's just how we do that. So the objective was quite clear, as I've said. How do we reach the across all of the workforce? How do we make it easy? The big thing, people say, I haven't joined ShareSave, or I haven't joined SIP because I can't log on to the Kier system, or I can't do this, or I need to put a passcode in, and that says it's emailed it to my work email. I don't have a book. So there's loads of stuff. So how can we get round the technical side, if you like? And then thirdly, we want to make it, because we want to make it so simple, we want to make it, once people are in, how can they see what they've got? Particularly with ShareSafe, how can they see how their monthly amounts are building up? Because all they see on their payslip is £25 deducted going into ShareSafe, 22 or whatever. How can they actually track what that means to them, and actually what the shares are worth? So that's where we came along. So when EQ said, we're thinking about launching this app, would you like to be first client? And I was like, no thanks. I'll let someone else do all that side, and I'll just swing in afterwards and say, oh, it works great, I'll take it on. But Dom was very persuasive. He said, no, it will work fine. So the great thing is that we were in with the team at the start, doing development, and they're saying, we're thinking about doing this. And I said, well, that looks nice, but I'd rather have it look like a bit like this. So we could do a lot of work with them as to how it's going to look at the start, what the functionality is, and we had, and this was back when we were launching, or about to launch ShareSave 2022, so this time last year, and it was very much, it has to work, the app, it has to work perfectly or we're not going to launch it. You know, you get all these like cold sweats that, oh, the app doesn't work, or I can't apply, oh, and I've emailed the chief executive to let him know there's a problem with the app. Thanks. So it's all about, it's all those nightmare stuff. No, don't want any of that. It's got to work. It's got to work. So, and I said, going back to what Dom said, we did a two-stage approach. So we had we got the microsite. So effectively, it's a standalone website that we can direct everyone to and say, if you want to know anything about Kia share plans, go to this site. And from there, there's got all the info on it, and you can link out to different stuff, and you can link to how you want to apply if you want to join up and so on. That sits outside of the Kia network. It's completely separate, so people can log onto it from anywhere, on any device. And also, it helps with the recruitment piece. So we can say, if you want to come and join Kia, here's all the great rewards and stuff we do. And by the way, if you want to know a bit about the share plans, just go onto this site, have a look. It's an open site. So we did that and said, okay, that's got to work. The microsite's got to launch. We'll do away with the paper stuff, and for the application, and the app's got to launch. And I must say, it all went really smoothly. We got zero noise, which is all you want, isn't it? Because actually people complain, and you get the odd, oh, that's really good, but people generally just have a moan if things don't work. And it worked. It worked really, really well. We used the QR codes, people could log on, and it's then trying to say, people, get it on your smartphone. Just go ahead, put it on your smartphone, and we'd go out and we do site visits, and we try and see people that at times that are really convenient for them, not so much for us, but that's fine. And say, well, put it on your phone. And they say, oh, I don't use a smartphone. What's football score? Oh, football score is using a smartphone. Put it on your smartphone. And the fact that people could register directly into the app. They haven't got to pre-register through the portal, the old-fashioned portal. They can do it all through, the app. And it's really straightforward. So I think that's what made a difference. And I'm a bit, as you can see, I'm quite enthusiastic about it because it's really good, basically, and it worked well. And the feedback we have got, has been good. People said, "Oh, this works. Can we have this? Can we have that?" So we launched. The app launched, I think, on the day or the day before we actually went live with the invite, wasn't it? It was very close. It was a bit too close, but it's close. It worked. It was fine. And people could do their ShareSave invite on it. And as soon as they registered, they saw all of their other ShareSaves. So if they were already in one of the previous Kia ShareSaves, that popped up. I can see all the ShareSaves. And now, we've added on SIP, so we're working through the SIP functionality. And that's a step process because actually ShareSave's a piece of cake for the app. Mm-hmm. Whereas SIP, obviously, there's all sorts of different bits and bobs. But again, we're building up the functionality with the SIP. And then I'm starting to badger them already for discretionary plans, which will be a nightmare, I'm sure. And the nice thing is, also with the app, is if you've got the discretionary plans, that shows. Because EQ are now, or also our share registrars, all the share side pings up as well. So it just seems to work. It just seems to work quite well. So and you can see on the take up. The take up was up last year. Now whether that's because we had a fancy new system, or whether because the share price was low and everyone thought, I'll part in. I don't know. But actually, it was up, which is great. And also the fact that we had nearly a third new starters. New people into SIP, into ShareSave, sorry, which was, when their stat came out, I was like, no, I don't think that's right. And they said, no, it's absolutely right, and they reran it. And they said, no, we had almost a third of people joining were first-timers, which is really good, because once people are in, and they like ShareSave, they get used to it. Obviously, it's an easier sell from then on. So this gives you some of the, just how the app looks, and it's things like, you can have it on your iPhone, for example. You can have it in light mode, dark mode. You can have whatever you want to have with it. And it's just, it's clear. And because it's got the share price, as you can see in the bar, in the blue bar, people can, they can see exactly what it's worth. And the nice thing is, they click on ShareSave, and they click on, for example, ShareSave 2021. it says, right, you've saved to date this much. At the current share price, this is your potential gain. So it's all those sorts of people can just monitor it, and it shows an overall picture of what the potential gain is, and so on. When we said with last year our share save that maturity was not in the money, so people just went straight to cash. But again, we can do the maturity through the app. A couple of clicks, done, perfect. So the one that our next maturity, which is the start of next year, is actually in the money, which is helps, doesn't it? But which is really good. And as I think Dom alluded to, we're currently going through our current share save. We're about halfway through our share save invite window at the moment. And although our share price has gone up considerably over the last few months, the take-up's still there, which is really good. Because I was like, I'm not sure what's going to happen because the share price has gone up, and people, and it's more money out of people's pockets, isn't it, to put into share save? But I think the fact that we added the bonus back in, is really helpful. So, but again, we're getting about 20% people applying on the app, which I'm quite pleased about because it's still relatively new. We're still pushing it out there. Everyone loves an app, doesn't they? Everyone's got an app for everything these days. And obviously, we've got a corporate app, we've got the EQ app, we've got a pension app, we've got all sorts of apps. So I think really, it's really trying to say to people, this app is worthwhile. The microsite works well. So so overall, I'm a happy customer.
Good stuff. And I think
at the moment, I'm a happy customer.
And I think, Jonathan, it's probably fair to say that from the statistics we've looked into in the Kier Group as well, a significant proportion of, shall we say, the less well-remunerated part of the employee group are starting to engage a little more than they have done in the past.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And again, it's because we can say to people, you do not need to go in anywhere near the Kier IT network. You don't need to say the word IT. You can just log on, register, bang, and you're in. And it's very much spreading the word, isn't it, with ShareSave? It always is. But it's getting out there and say, well, just put it on your phone. Just put it on your phone. Put it on your wife's phone. Put it on your husband's phone. Put it on someone's phone. Register for it, and then you can manage everything through that. So, and what's quite nice is because I think from the admin perspective, there's no extra admin from our end. So we just send through the normal files that that our admin team run and send through the change files and all the other stuff that goes over. So there's nothing extra we need to do with the app, and everything that's done. So if you make a change on the app, it reflects on the online portal if you go in, on that side, and everything, because I think the data is effectively the same, isn't it? So every change you put in one, either on the app or on the portal, it reflects on the other one straight away. So it helps. And and the nice thing about the app is you can put, we've got push notifications going through. So, for example, it pinged up on the app, you've got an event, ShareSave 23 is launched. We're going to do another chaser now on the app, and then they'll be like, you've got 10 seconds to join, otherwise you're going to miss the window, sort of one. And then, again, it's just another method of saying to people, if you want to join, this is a reminder, and so on. And I'm quite looking forward, as a bit of a ShareSave geek, as to how we do the maturity next year when it's in the money, to say to people, actually, look, there's a profit here. If you want to take it, and take it quick before the capital gain rates change as well, get in there and and a few buttons, boom, and you'll get some cash come through.
Super. So,
last one. Oh, my last slide, isn't it? I asked one of our youngsters in the team, one of our very youngsters, what she thought about it, and she said, I'll write you a thing. She did and said it's great, particularly the Face ID bit, which I thought was interesting. But and it's interesting, the Face ID bit, because she's got an identical twin that works for Kier as well. And apparently they can open each other's phones on Face ID. So I'm like, well, it's not that good, is it? If your sister can open your phone. But again, she raved on about it as a young'un, which is great, and said, again, it's all about apps, isn't it? They want something that's easy to use and easy to monitor.
And you can see Jonathan doesn't hold back his honesty and integrity in the way that he presents as well. So hopefully that really comes across as a genuine user case example that we've got with one of our existing clients. Thanks, Jonathan. So I kind of wanted to jump in as well a little bit to EasyJet. We talked at the presentation at the very start, we talked around the ecosystem and how microsites can act as a centralized point for the communication aspect. And EasyJet have really taken that on board. Last year we had a microsite with EasyJet, and it was mainly launched and put in place to support the ShareSafe launch. So it was there to encourage individuals to join ShareSafe, and that was the primary focus of the actual site itself. A new site, which I'll let scroll through in the background, hopefully. So we've got the capability to have carousels and details that pertaining to the actual event itself, and also have information and videos that we can case hold on a particular platform as well that really explain to the individual the benefits of joining the scheme, as well as next steps and key dates and calendar events that the individual can then see and add to their calendar pertinent to the event cycles. But equally, what EasyJet have now done is build out their site so it caters beyond just the actual launch event. And we now can have details pertaining to not only what they can key in terms of the calculator, but also information pertaining to things like maturities that Jonathan's alluded to earlier. So when you actually start to hit the maturity phase of your actual plan, you can have the actual site dedicated towards the actual maturity section as well, and information pertaining to what might be UK individuals or indeed international individuals, because they've got different considerations and different elements. And you'll note also on the top right-hand side, I've got a note relating to the share incentive plan that EasyJet also offer as well. So the idea, in effect, that the actual scheme and website can be used to be completely all-encompassing across all of your employee schemes, and you can have little areas where they can navigate to different areas to see if they would rather join the share incentive plan or the ShareSafe scheme. It just acts as that real hub, so you can put all the documentation in one place. And hopefully that really short-form EasyJet video just shows how that can be brought into life, which is what we did with EasyJet as part of their ShareSafe launch and maturity this year. In terms of how that's worked from an EasyJet perspective, we're pretty happy in terms of the actual process and details as well. So take-up percentage of 52% is really good. Obviously, with the airline sector at the moment still not fully recovered from COVID, being one of the hardest hit industries that's out there, still having that level of engagement within your employee workforce within the trajectory of the company returning to the previous pre-pandemic levels is a really strong point. And having those kind of levels of collateral around engagement, around them also being a new adopter on our mobile application, really kind of drives that forward. Which I think also is into around 21% of participants have now joined for the first time, which is what Jonathan was also alluding from a Kier perspective, is that we're starting to target areas of the workforce that have been difficult to get hold of just by using those new engagement mediums and really trying to removing the barriers from individuals being able to engage with employee schemes going forward. I will call out a couple of other clients that have gone live as well recently. We've now got 6 clients live on the mobile application. The likes of Wix and Howdens are launched in the last month, and we're starting to see really good take-up rates of them as well, with over 50% of all applications in those instances being received in the first couple of weeks on ShareSafe through the mobile application. So it's a technology form that I think we're happy that we've invested in. And it's kind of being adopted as well very regularly by the underlying participants within employees at the company. So really good news stories that are coming out of the technology aspect and the investments that we're making, and obviously some good feedback that we're getting from not only clients but the underlying colleagues as well. So I think I'd pause in terms of what the future holds. We've done a presentation not dissimilar to this at the Geo conference earlier in Edinburgh. And we kind of cased the room with a couple of questions on mediums that kind of clients are using at the moment in terms of what they feel is still best to getting word out there around employee schemes. And there's still definitely popularity around things like webinars and roadshows and in-person events. It's great to see you all here today, and I think there's in-person events are starting to come back onto the agenda now, and people are really happy to attend them. But it just shows that that's kind of still a big driver in terms of what really resonates with clients and helps them buy in and understand it. So I'm not saying that these kind of new technologies will actually replace those at the moment, but at the same time, I think in the journey of where we are, if you fast forward 5 years, the growing kind of consensus we got when we did a small presentation of this to a smaller subset was definitely mobile applications is likely to be the future. The amount of time that individuals, we all spend on, indeed, on our mobile phones at the moment, whether it's Facebook, whether it's more work-orientated processing and apps. And I think that's going to be a natural medium that we can look at targeting organisations when around 4.5 hours of individuals generally spend on their mobile phones these days. So we really need to start maximising that as a medium to start working with and targeting our employees. I think that's it in terms of our coverage. I don't know how we're doing for time. If we've got a little bit of time, happy to open the floor for any questions to any or all three of us. 10 minutes. So is there any kind of questions that we've got for either Jonathan, myself, or anyone about the actual launch of the app? Question down at the front?
Yeah, I was just wondering, does your app actually integrate with, like, some, like, big companies have, like, work-based app, you know, their whole benefits packages on an app system. Does it integrate with that, you know?
It currently stands as an independent application offering, but we have got the capability to force push it to work mobile devices. So when you have a new colleague, for example, that has software already installed on a work phone, we've got the ability to make sure that it's one of the applications that's on that work phone to kind of encourage that level of engagement as well, which is why also I think we've seen such good take-up rates for individuals using it as a first login tool, because it's one of the first things that they see as part of joining the organisation. Benny.
Sorry, we've got a microphone here.
Thanks. Has anyone switched away to totally use the app and not run it in conjunction with a microsite? And do you see that as a trend going forward?
That's a great question. Not yet. Obviously, we're still in the sort of fairly early phases of its adoption with 6 clients live at the moment. But we've definitely got appetite of clients that are still coming behind that, of a keenness to use the app as the primary form of engagement. And I think that's where we'll naturally progress. So as kind of mentioned, fast forward 5 years, it might be that we're seeing more people access through the mobile application than actually through the portal. And we've seen from early statistics as well that you do get more engagement generally. You are seeing individuals using the app more frequently than they would have used the portal when you actually roll the application out. So I think it is the trajectory that the clients will go, and it'll be interesting to revisit that in 5 years' time. 2 further questions.
Sorry.
Hello. Jonathan, it's lovely to hear you speak with such enthusiasm about the stakeholder engagement and the employee engagement with this share plan. And I'm really interested, without asking you to breach any confidentiality, whether this decision to go to the app was something that you were able to make yourself, or was the board engaged in this decision? How did you did you have to persuade the board that this new method of engagement was appropriate, or did you just have carte blanche to do what you like?
Yeah, we just cracked on with it. Yeah, I mean, yeah. When we said, it's interesting. I think when we put, when you originally go back to the board and say, share save again this year, please, and everyone kind of nods, don't they? And that's absolutely fine. And I think we might have put at the bottom of PS, we can use an app, but I don't think they probably even read that line. And they're not. Yeah, I said there wasn't. I mean, obviously within the HR community, we had a lot of buy-in from them, particularly sort of our HR directors across the business, to say, actually, this is going to be new, this is going to be proper funky, it's going to be really smart, and and we want your help to push it out. So, and the thing is, we had, everyone was positive, but we didn't sort of go out and say, oh, by the way, we're gonna add this in. Yeah.
I was just wondering, how do you manage maturity when your share price is close to being underwater, or possibly is underwater? Do you keep the options open, or do you switch off the sale facility? Do you switch it off altogether and just have the return of savings option?
Yeah, really good question. I think it's kind of how we kind of manage that when the actual circumstance arrives. We're trying to obviously empower individuals to be financially savvy enough to understand the ramifications of exercising underwater versus exercising in the money. But at the same time, we always try and create a technological approach that isn't going to disadvantage individuals who maybe don't fully understand the ramifications of performing that type of transaction. So on the portal, we've obviously got the ability of kind of suppressing types of transactions, and similarly, we're looking at doing that for the application as well, so that we're not encouraging individuals to say exercise when things are underwater, and instead you should be obviously looking at pulling back your savings. So it's things that we're building in as we look at how the technology evolves on the application itself.
I mean, from my perspective, so our maturity late last year, it was sort of well underwater, so we just switched off. You know, we didn't give people, because we tend to find if you give people the ability, someone will tick the wrong box. They generally do. So yeah, we just turned it off. And then I think one issue we had is obviously, you know, during the 6 months window, what happens if the share price goes back up? And I think it's very much, well, we'll deal with that if it happens. It didn't happen, but you're quite right. If you're touch and go around the price, it's going to be a more difficult decision, I think, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
I just wonder if there's any implications for the timetable for launch with introducing the app?
Oh, good question. Not really. So obviously we typically manage, we can do this a couple of ways. We can introduce the app alongside a particular share plan event, for example. Quite often clients are driven to try and get this in to support, for example, a ShareSave launch. And we can then build that into the launch timeframe so that we can have the app ready alongside the launch itself. Alternatively, we do know, and there are statistics to support this, that the app, irrespective of it being a launch timeframe, will promote increased engagement. So even if the main process to try and have this by an ultimate event date to try and improve the level of how that event's going to be managed, it will be beneficial to have it in place irrespective, because you will get individuals logging in more frequently, engaging with the share price, engaging with their holdings, which is ultimately what we're trying to drive, is the idea that I'm a share plan participant. There's a reason I'm a share plan participant, and I've got a valuation in the company that I work for, which then entrenches me within the company and drives forward those behaviours. So in terms of the building into the launch, it won't impact or delay process. It's just a dual mechanism that we can do alongside it. But the launch time frame effectively can be built in, and we can manage the launch during any period.
Sorry, just a follow-up question on that. And I appreciate you've only got 6 clients on it, so you might not be able to answer. But do you think the launch of the app would be more successful linked to an event such as Grant, or do you think it won't be impacted and it doesn't really matter when you launch it?
I'm actually in the latter category. I think that you obviously need to be mindful of how you communicate launches going forward, because if the app is then live, you need to be educating individuals that it is a medium that they can now use. So it effectively acts as a launch to say that you can use the mobile application, but reminder, the application we've now launched, you can use as part of your ShareSave joining process, for example, in your ShareSave mechanism. So I think you just need to be mindful of how you then communicate, knowing it's an additional tool in your tool bag that individuals can use and engage with. So yeah, I think, but at the same time, we have seen a lot of clients that are keen to get it in place as part of the launch campaign. I know that's the approach that we used with Clear Group as well.
Yeah, and I think from our end, we don't really talk about ShareSave much other than during the invite process and the maturity. Otherwise, it's kind of quiet, isn't it? And I think for us, it was very much as we're going out there and we're trying to talk to everyone in the business. It's a good time to do it. Although I think, as I was saying on Dom's point, actually, if it had pre-launched, you could get a pool of people that are quite keen and already, particularly if you're doing something like SIP or something else, where you've got another avenue. But I think it's very much horses for courses, isn't it? Depends how your comms work.
It's also about if you've got a particular nervous state of disposition as well. So if you know that you've pre-launched when you've not got a massive period of activity and you know it works, at least you've got the comfort that when the ShareSave launch is going to happen, you know that it's going to work well. I mean, obviously, as Jonathan said, we did both simultaneously and we were confident of being able to do that. We are confident in that approach, but if you're the sort of hands-on person that is really keen to be confident that it's going to work ahead of time, it might be a better approach to do it that way as well.
It's one extra issue, isn't it? Like you say, if you've already launched it, it's done. Whereas it's an extra stress, isn't it? Otherwise,
a consideration.
Sorry, it's an extra consideration. Sorry.
Any final questions?
Just one. Oh God. You mentioned that the executive schemes on the app yeah, and you're badgering them, which would be great. Is there any plan for a global share purchase plan to be on there? Because as a global company, we like to launch things and treat everybody the same. So it would be great if you are planning to do that.
Yeah, there is. We've got a bit of an agile approach to our technological roadmap at the moment. So our approach to the application was we wanted to get it in people's hands as quickly as we could. And so to be able to do that, we've prioritised product approach, which is why we've prioritised share save and prioritised share incentive plans, because they're the types of arrangements that the majority of our clients have. So we wanted to be able to try and service as many clients as we could. And we feel that those types of schemes really have the greater benefit with the application because they're all employee and it's around trying to get individuals into the scheme, similar to the Global Purchase Programme you've alluded to, Sarah. We do have fewer clients with our Global Purchase Programme, but it's something that we're looking into in 2024, and we'll be able to come out with timings around the actual dynamic and roadmap of our investment programme and strategy across how we're investing into the application as well. If there aren't any further questions, I think we're close for time. There is a mobile application stand that is to the left of my left, your right. So do feel free to come and visit myself or Paul Bowen if you've got any further questions on the app, or indeed would like a demo so you get an understanding of how it works. But otherwise, thanks very much for listening and enjoy the rest of the day.